greater than nothing. No one is greater than anyone. Whoever they are greater than nothing. It's how mockery, whatever. I know he's at a lot in this. How mockery, how mockery, how mockery, whatever. Pretty much lyrically, I think it's fascinating. Just the symbolism, the symbology, whatever into it. I think it's amazing wordplay. Some of the best writings I've ever actually heard. With a novel of it. Good for music, though. Makes great black metal. Musically, on the other hand, pretty much, in my opinion, it sounds like a black mass of void emptiness. Like, and I think it's also an eliminate is a phrase. No love, no hate, no faith, no memory. It's pure blackness. It's pure nothingness. It's pure void. And just the ambience. You always look at like Emperor. They eventually got very symbolic. Not symbolic. They got very symphonic in their sound to create this classical ambience of their sound. And what I've heard and what I've read that pissed a lot of people off in the scene because it really kind of made it to the point that so many people were liking them that they kind of felt that they had to eventually conform with them. And then you get the Cradle of Filth, you get the Dimmu Borgirs, you get all these other bands that are incorporating synthesizers to bring that symphonic sound. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing all of these bands, but I'm just saying that they really kind of put it onto another level. And to me, even in the black history of the black metal 80 days, it was very, the ambience is true. Even in death metal, the ambience is very true. It's that haunting feeling in black metal, whereas in death metal, you really feel like you're going to get stabbed, honestly. A lot of the sounds when it's the really good stuff, you kind of feel sight red. You kind of feel the urge with them. In my opinion, a great black metal band can really take the ordinary instruments and just by the way of playing, you really get that ambience. You don't need the synthesizers. You don't need the orchestras. You can do it with your own guitar. Really, Rune Erickson, who, not Necro Butcher, Blasphemy, whatever. Rune Erickson, he was the guitarist at the time. He eventually left the band. After Euronymous died, he pretty much took over the writing process of most of the albums. Some of it's for good, some of it's for bad, but in my opinion, this is probably some of his best composing. Absolutely. It's very, and I've heard in interviews that he actually had a lot of influence with Attila, because Attila's, after he left for so many years with Mayhem, he eventually went on to ambient bands, Sun, Keep It Collegian, I'm Probably Slaughtering That Man, whatever. He's very kind of experimental, very sound-based kind of band. Very kind of cool. On a drumming level, Hellhammer, probably some of his best stuff. He's up in there. That the only thing that was pretty was his double bass. With any of his works, with the band itself, with Covenant, with Dimmu Borgir, with Emperor, Immortal. Anytime he's ever really done with anything with anyone, I don't know if he did anything with Emperor. I'm thinking he did. And anytime he's ever really drummed with him, he's never really needed. He's fast enough. He's talented enough. So regardless, if he decided to use triggers to make the double bass even faster, so be it. Whatever. He's earned the right, but he doesn't need to work that hard. At times, it may sound like a useless pattern at times, for sure, but when you listen to it a couple times, you kind of feel that it is not necessary, but it works. Nothing's really necessary, but it works. The standing point in any of the songs, in my opinion, is the drum work in Great Works of Ages. Just a couple seconds into it, it's a fire and frenzy right after this short, tremolo picking from Rune. It goes straight into this, not even really a blast beat, but it's just chaotic drum work. And the closest thing that that it sounds like is that you're being swallowed by a maelstrom. with the tempest going overhead. It's just complete chaos. It's complete, utter energy. It's order from chaos. The bass work is probably, it's slathered on like barbecue sauce all over the place. It's really the ambience of this whole album. You know, I mean, the guitar works insanely beautiful, the drums all over the place, but the dark, sinister sounds that you hear on this album are the bass work. Sadly, Necro Butcher, what I've read, is actually not doing the bass work on the album itself. Rune actually did the bass work himself. I don't know why he wouldn't be on the album. Anyone that knows the history of the band, he's literally the only remaining member of the original lineup. You know, Attila came in after Dead, who was there, you know, between Maniac, whatnot. You know what I mean by that. Euronymous died off. You know, and after Euronymous and Dead died, that they was rude, not rude. Necrobutcher did leave for a time, and Bard did do the bass work on their first album. You know, so only a very short amount of time, which he never really had any word. So I'm not entirely sure why he wouldn't do the bass work. I've seen plenty of videos of him recently his bass playing. It really kind of baffles me. But again, another, you know, hails to, you know, Ruin for an amazing musician, honestly. Vocally, vocals are just insane. You know, on the first album, you know, the first time I ever heard anything from the first album, you know, hearing Attila's work, I'm like, really, that's way out of place. You know, I'm coming to find out that he was informant from Hungary, one of the original black metal bands. You know, even then, I mean, he has a traditional gruffy, grindy kind of metal voice, but it's very untraditional. This, the same, very unconventional, totally sounds to play singer. And the song "We Consecrate." The very beginning is dealing with sounds like an inhale, screechy scream, agonizing pain kind of voice. And it's haunting, but it's so orgasmic to say the least. Just this screeching is out of this world. You know, just the ambience that he puts into this album with his voice low. If it wasn't for the bass footage, honestly, would be great. As a touching note, for this album, it's very beautiful. Something to add to the nothingness of the music are the three examples that I can think off the top of my head right now are the great works of ages, Psychic Horns, and Anti. Not that they're, besides the fact that they're great, amazing songs, there's an example in there that really just kind of hits to the point that black metal isn't just anti-religion, and that it's nothingness. There's extended period points where there's no music. They'll play for a little bit, and then there's just a moment of silence for 5 seconds, and there's just nothingness. And then they'll just start playing. You know, there's a complete, absolute void. I just think it's fascinating. I'm going to end this off. I've been rambling. Like I said, this is more of a discussion in my point of view of the album, more than an album review. I hope I kind of did justice to this. It's a fascinating album. Anyone that's into black metal, into death metal, into ambience, or even that's someone that's just a connoisseur of music in general and that can tolerate the extreme metal genres, I really should pick this up. Just lower the lights, put on some headphones. Don't listen to it through a stereo at first. You're going to want to put it straight into your ears. You're not going to want any sound that's going to interrupt you. It's a ride and a half. You're going to enjoy it. I have for years already. You know, I bought this just months after it came out. It took a little bit, like most things new, to actually get used to. But once you get past, this is not the stereotypical black metal you would hear from your third-rate wannabe black metal band. You're going to realize that it is different. it goes back to the lo-fi. And like what Alhammer says, it's what they wanted. It gets the grimness back into it. It gets the darkness back into it. The lo-fi is the black metal. It's where you hear all the mistakes, and that's what makes it genuine. It's worth the price. If you no, don't pirate. I'm not going to promote piracy. It's just whatever. Just listen to the album. Give it a chance. It's not your stereotypical black metal. You're going to pop it on. It's not going to sound like Marduk. It's not going to sound like Burzum, old or new, post or pre-prison time. It's not going to sound like an Emperor album. Not even in the slightest. But as much as I don't really agree with the person that Euronymous was, his character and his vision for the scene, the music, I think he would be happy. The gruffy old bastards in Dark Throne have always been, it's not really real, the genre is dead. I really hope, after hearing this album, I really, even just for a slight moment, in their pride. And I love the guys from Dark Throne. If they ever see this, I know they're probably going to be pissed or they're going to chuckle their asses off. I love the humor. But I really hope that the first time they ever actually heard this album, I really hope they said, wow, the guys in Mayhem still have it. It's not the original band, but they're still worth the idea. They're really worth actually going out and trying. They tried, and they succeeded.